Welcome, 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 ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. Jackie has a sports show, and you yourself right there, sitting on the couch, sitting in the car, at work, cleaning the house, whatever you're doing. You are listening to that very sports show, and I much appreciate you listening to this sports show. How y'all doing? How was the weekend? I got a free day off of work. Building shut down for maintenance. That was fun. How was y'all's weekend? How's it going? How's your team doing in NFL free agency? That's basically all we're going to talk about today. I know on Friday, because I switched that show to Friday, on Friday I said that this would probably be a basketball centric show, but I had forgotten that free agency opened yesterday. So we're just going to talk NFL free agency because it was a lot. A lot's probably going to happen today as well. If you want all my reactions to that, go to TikTok. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk some ones I've found important. Not going to talk about the ones I didn't find that important. Still important. Don't want to disrespect any guys, any teams. But we're going to talk New York Giants bleeding. We're going to talk what the Titans have been doing because I'm a Titans fan. I follow the Titans and I find it very intriguing what they are doing. We're going to talk Bears plans with Justin Fields. We're going to talk the Texans, the Houston Texans putting in work. We're going to talk about Baker signing a 3-year deal worth $100 million. And let's talk about that, since that was one of the first things that happened this weekend. Also, in the YouTube comments, this is the second time I'm using this new camera. Tell me if you like it or if you like the camera I used prior. And also, make sure y'all like, rate, and share, especially rating, especially sharing. That's what pushes me everywhere. Please do that for me. I will love you forever. Also, Red Light Homies came out yesterday, did a red light trivia night. It was fun. I wrote it up myself. Let me know how I did. And let's get straight into it. Baker Mayfield signs a 3-year deal worth $100 million, up to $115 million, with $50 million of that guaranteed. I love seeing Baker Mayfield get paid. I've been a Baker Mayfield supporter since before the draft because mostly due to the fact that I watched Colin Cowherd religiously back in the day, back around that time, and he really didn't like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield came on his show, absolutely cooked him, and I've been in love with the guy ever since. Everything he does, do I love? No. Uh, Hands up, cards on the table. Don't like everything Baker Mayfield does. Have had some criticisms of his behavior in the past, but I want to see him win. He looks like a good teammate. He's fun to watch. He's an underdog. He is all of that. You love to watch him. Now, do I think it's a good move? No. No. As much as I love Baker Mayfield, he's closer to a Ryan Fitzpatrick than he is a Ryan Tannehill. And what do I mean by that? He's closer to a journeyman quarterback than a solid starter turned decent backup. Ryan Tannehill hasn't been signed anywhere. I think he's still on the Titans. Anyways, Baker Mayfield should not be anywhere close to a $50 million guaranteed contract. He just shouldn't. I know the Buccaneers loved him. You weren't going to get Mike Evans back without Baker Mayfield. He made that very clear. He was not about to put up with Florida Gators legend Kyle Trask. He wanted Baker Mayfield. You want Mike Evans. You're going to go get Baker Mayfield. That doesn't mean it's the right move. You cannot let these players control the team because in the past, it continues to be proven true, these players like to play with their friends. That's just what it is. Across every single league, even bleeding into places like pro wrestling, people like to play with their friends. Not in that way, don't make it weird, but people like to play with their friends. And this is a business. If you want to get better, sometimes having guys play with their friends is not how you win championships. I love Baker Mayfield. I want to see Baker Mayfield succeed. I want to see Baker Mayfield become an elite quarterback that deserves a $115 million contract with 50 of it guaranteed. 115 because it can be worth up to 115 with all his incentives. But he's just not that. He's just not that. Let's face the facts. Baker Mayfield is not a quarterback deserving of that contract. He played fine last season. He didn't play great. He played fine last season. $100 million fine? No, not even close. But let me know what y'all think of the contract. So let's get into some of the smaller stuff that has happened, and I'll lead that into talking about the individual teams that I've pointed out. First of all, the Green Bay Packers release Aaron Jones and replace him with Josh Jacobs. I don't like this. I was on the record 2 years ago, and I think I've mentioned this on this podcast. I thought Josh Jacobs was a top five running back in the AFC. I thought that, and then he came out in 2022 and he showed that he's a top five running back in the AFC. And then he comes out last year, doesn't have that great of a year. I did talk about this because I talked about Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs being available, Saquon Barkley being available. I do remember talking about this. That was my thought on Josh Jacobs. Can he be a good running back? Yes. Is he Aaron Jones? No. Now, I understand that Aaron Jones is getting older. I understand that running backs age a lot faster than receivers or quarterbacks, but you got to run. Aaron Jones was a very important part of that offense last season, and Josh Jacobs cannot do everything Aaron Jones does. Is Josh Jacobs viable in the passing game? Absolutely. Is he Aaron Jones? No. And Aaron Jones is one of the most perfect mixes in the league when it comes to running and receiving ability. So this is a downgrade, in my opinion, especially with the kind of offense the Packers like to run. This isn't a Nick Sirianni situation where he's trying to, overhaul the offense, bring in new guys. No, this is Matt LaFleur's offense. And yes, you can point to Derrick Henry having great numbers with Matt LaFleur, even though his 2,000-yard season was with Arthur Smith. But before that, he had a pretty good season. Before that, I believe in the playoff run, it was Matt LaFleur as the offensive coordinator, that historic playoff run that Derrick Henry had. But the better running back to fit a Matt LaFleur system is Aaron Jones. So I don't like this. I don't think it's going to work. I think the Packers are very talented. They're a very talented young team. They have a good defense. Signed Xavier McKinney, which we'll get into with the Giants. Too much money, in my opinion, but they signed Xavier McKinney to help that defense, which is going to help that defense. They lost Darnell Savage, unfortunately, but I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit. I think the Packers are going to be fine, but I don't think their run game is going to be that great next season. Christian Wilkins goes to the Raiders, building a very, very solid foundation for a very scary defensive line. You have Christian Wilkins in the middle. You have Max Crosby on the outside. Tyree Wilson, we'll see if he develops. Cleveland Farrell, I don't even think is there anymore. But that is a very, very solid foundation for a defensive line. That Raiders defensive line is going to eat offensive lines alive next season. Is the defense going to be great still? That's yet to be seen. They got questions at their linebackers. They got questions in the secondary, yet to be seen. But the start of defenses, now more than ever, is getting to the quarterback, destroying offensive lines. And the Raiders getting Christian Wilkins to pair with Tyree Wilson and to pair with Max Crosby. Again, Tyree Wilson didn't have that great of a year, but it was his first year. It's coming into his second year. He has a year under his belt. We'll see. Very highly sought after rookie in the draft. Very sought after when he was coming out of college. So we'll see if he can develop. If he can develop, that Raiders defensive line is going to be very scary. The Commanders lost Antonio Gibson and replaced him with Austin Eckler, which is an upgrade in my opinion. I have another guy, the homies over at Own Accord Pod. One of them is a Washington Commanders fan, and I was talking to him about Antonio Gibson during the season because I had Brian Robinson in fantasy, so I was keeping up with Brian Robinson. And Brian Robinson, I'm going to try to talk a little slower. I've noticed that I talk really fast. But Brian Robinson is a great running back, great young running back. But I don't think he can be the number one, give this guy to the ball, get out of the way. He's going to take us to victory. Pairing him with Austin Eckler, that is going to be very, very nice in that backfield. Very nice in that backfield. It's an upgrade over Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson gets a lot of hate, but I think Antonio Gibson is a good running back. He signed with the Patriots, which, by the way, the Patriots also got Jacoby Brissett, making that a full circle. I didn't write that down, but I felt like I should just notice that. But the duo of Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler is going to be very solid next season. Very solid next season. Saquon Barkley goes to a division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, to shit talking from Tiki Barber, to put it in a sentence that I couldn't really think of better words for. Tiki Barber, can we cut the tribalism out? Can we cut? You've been out of the league for almost 20 years now, right? Tiki Barber retired around like 2005, 2006, right? You can fact check me on that. But didn't he do the same thing with Eli Manning? Well, not really the same thing, but he came out like a couple of years after he retired, and he was like, "Yeah, Eli Manning's not a great leader. They're not going to do anything with Eli Manning," or something like that. When he first became an analyst, if y'all didn't hear, Saquon Barkley signed with the Eagles, and we're going to talk about that fit in a second. And Tiki Barber said, "You're dead to me. How could you do that? You're dead to me." He doesn't know you. He doesn't know you. Stop talking about the Giants. Yes, Tiki Barber is a Giants legend. Yes, Tiki Barber, a big enough legend. I believe his name is in the Ring of Honor, right? Tiki Barber was a great running back in his time. Stop. Stop giving your opinion. And can we cut this tribalism crap out? I am sad, and we'll talk more about it in a second, but I am sad Danico Autry and Azeez Al-Shire got picked up by the Texans. I'm sad about it. But the Texans are in a very good spot right now. Again, we'll talk about them in a second as well. They're in a very good spot right now, and they are absolutely cooking. They're building a phenomenal team. Why would I get mad at Danico Autry and Azeez Al-Shire for joining a great team? It's the Texans. It's a division rival, so it stings a little bit. But stop. Stop this tribalism stuff. Saquon Barkley got paid. Saquon Barkley is going to do a lot of good things in Philadelphia. Be happy for him. Be happy for him. I get Eagles fans probably treated him like crap. I get that. That's not Saquon Barkley's fault. Chill out. Now, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles is interesting because, as I mentioned before, and as I've mentioned in the past couple of weeks, Nick Sirianni wants to reboot that offense. It's not going to be the same offense that had Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott in the backfield. It's not going to be even the same offense as last year with DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, and Boston Scott. I still think was there. This is going to be a new offense. It might be reminiscent closer to a Ravens kind of offense, which I think is very interesting with a Saquon Barkley, with a Jalen Hurts, with a Dallas Goedert, with an A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You can say what you want about this Eagles team. You can't say that they don't have weapons. They have weapons. It's just about what that defense can do. Can that defense be better this season? In which I haven't really seen anything to see that they will, but we'll see. Howie Roseman, best GM in the league, point blank period. We'll see what they do, and we'll see how this new offense looks. As a guy who has come to hate the Eagles for a lot of reasons, I don't like their head coach. I don't like their fan base. But as a guy who respects what the Eagles are doing, respects that the Eagles saw, okay, even though we made the NFC Championship game, right? Am I tripping? No, they were a first-round exit, weren't they? Yeah, they lost to the Bucks in the first round, but even though we made the playoffs, even though we looked really good most of the season, our offense is not good enough. Our defense is not good enough. Go out, get Saquon Barkley to pair with all these guys. Let's stop with this running back committee. It's not working. Let's go get a guy that can be a bell cow back, that can catch the ball in the backfield and do phenomenal things with it. I'm excited for the Eagles, for Eagles fans, even though I hate you. For Nick Sirianni, even though I hate you. Like Jalen Hurts, think he gets too much hate. We'll see what Jalen Hurts can do. Because I don't think just touching on Jalen Hurts right now, not in that way. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback. You cannot be a bad quarterback and put up the kind of Super Bowl performance he put up. Yes, he fumbled the ball. Yes, he fumbled the ball, and he fumbled the ball in a bad position. He also played his ass off, and he was the only reason it was this close from a Super Bowl overtime. Just a skosh. Like I said in the past, I had an offensive line coach that was his favorite line. Just a skosh, just a little bit. That means just a little bit. That close from overtime in the Super Bowl. That close to winning the Super Bowl. So I'm very excited for what the Eagles are going to be doing next season. Start with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Denver Broncos eating $85 million in cap over the next 2 seasons. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a team with a lot of holes. But the Denver Broncos realized that they were not just a quarterback away, realized that this thing needs an entire rebuild. I hope they're patient with Sean Payton, which I think they will be, considering Sean Payton's resume. Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh makes Pittsburgh really interesting. I told y'all, Russell Wilson, teams are going to convince themselves, okay, he was put in a very bad position both years in Denver. He was put in a real bad position. Maybe we can get 2018 Russell Wilson. Maybe we can get 2019 Russell Wilson. Because Russell Wilson in the 2020s has not been the Russell Wilson in the 2010s at all. And I don't think that's debatable. He just has not been. As soon as 2020 hit, as soon as COVID hit, Russell Wilson said, I don't know how to play quarterback anymore. Going to Pittsburgh is going to be interesting. He has a great team. Deontay Johnson, of course, there's rumors that he's going to be traded, but if he stays, you have Deontay Johnson. You have one of the best young receivers in George Pickens. You have one of the best young tight ends in the league in Pat Freiermuth. You have a pretty solid backfield in Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I can't believe I forgot his name. The offensive line needs to be fixed. Needs some help in that secondary on defense, but you have the best defensive player in football on the other side, so that defense is going to be gnarly no matter who is over there. It's a very good situation for Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, you're in a tough division. The Browns are going to be good. The Bengals are going to be good as long as they stay healthy. Same with Browns. As long as they stay healthy, they seem to have a problem with that. The Ravens are going to be tremendous as long as they stay healthy. This could end up like the Joe Burrow Super Bowl run where the rest of the division gets real hurt. Because as I said, these teams have a history of, getting injured, not being able to finish the season. And the Steelers don't really have that problem. And when they have that problem, they have that next guy. They are the definition of next guy up. The Steelers pretty much invented that mindset. If Russ can be anything like pre-2020 Russell Wilson, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is scary. Now, when it comes to Kenny Pickett, I feel bad for the kid. I came out in support of Kenny Pickett because I said that you have to give these quarterbacks time, at least 2.5 years. If it was middle of the season next season and Kenny Pickett was showing no signs of getting better, okay, bail on him. But Kenny Pickett was in an offense that didn't trust him, that was archaic in the least brutal way, you could say. It was a very old offense, and Matt Canada didn't trust him. So he had to switch, and it was just an overall down season. Now, was it all not his fault? No. Kenny Pickett did not play good, right? He was put in a bad situation, but great quarterbacks will turn chicken shit into chicken salad. We've seen that over and over and over again. And Kenny Pickett couldn't do that. Now, it could be because he was young. We don't know. But the Steelers feel like they can win, in which they have a really talented team. So they need to go out and get a quarterback. And they got one of the best available. Again, if it's pre-2020, Russell Wilson. Let's talk Kirk Cousins to Falcons. Well, T. Higgins has requested a trade. I'm just going to throw that out there. T. Higgins got franchise tagged, but is now requesting a trade away from Cincinnati. I suspect the Bears are going to be involved. That'll lead into my talk about the Bears. No, it won't, because I got to talk Kirk Cousins. But I suspect the Bears are going to be involved. I suspect the Titans will be involved. Maybe the Texans, if they want to add some more weapons on there, but they really need to focus on that run game. There's going to be a lot of teams going for T. Higgins. Is he first round pick worthy? No. I had this talk with my manager. I'm going to say this real quick because there's a lot of stuff to go to. Said this with my manager. T. Higgins can be the starting wide receiver on 10 teams right now, and that's only because those 10 teams don't have a certified number one. T. Higgins is good, but Calvin Ridley was really good in Atlanta. Then he went to Jacksonville, was asked to be the number one receiver, didn't play as good. I'm not saying that's going to happen to T. Higgins. I'm saying there's that worry. So if T. Higgins gets traded, expect it to be for maybe a player or two and a second or third round pick. Kirk Cousins is signed with the Atlanta Falcons, and this will lead into my Bears talk. The Falcons needed a quarterback. The Vikings, although high on Kirk Cousins, wanted to get rid of him, wanted to start new. Kirk Cousins is a very solid quarterback if he stays healthy. He's going to an offense that is really good. I would want, it's not really good, but it's good. If I'm the Falcons, I want a more mobile quarterback than Kirk Cousins because you have Bijan in that backfield and because Bijan and Tyler Algier seem to be a really good duo. But you also can stretch the field. You have Drake London, you have Kyle Pitts. Jonnu Smith isn't there anymore. Y'all know I love Jonnu Smith, Titans legend. Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins isn't great, but you get what I'm saying. This Falcons team is set up to be a great team. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders yet, especially as I talk up guys like Drake London and Matt Collins, they really need some more guys in that wide receiving core. Need help on the offensive line, need help on the defense, especially now you lost Jeff Okudah. But, well, you have A.J. Terrell, you have Jesse Bates back there. But Falcons need a lot of work, but this is shoring up the quarterback position for the next couple of years. And even if you want to, if this shores up the quarterback position and then you want to draft a rookie to learn under Kirk Cousins, I can see that too. Now, there's going to be a lot of guys that you might want, including like a Malik Neighbors or a Roma Dunze or Roma Dunze, or say like a Dallas Turner on the defensive line. There's a lot of guys that in other positions that you may want to strengthen all that. But Kirk Cousins gives you a couple of years to where you're like, okay, we'll be solid at quarterback, so let's build a team to try to compete. Now, Kirk Cousins melts in the playoffs. We know that, but we'll see. I hope it ends up well. Now, for the Vikings, what's going to happen with Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson really loves Kirk Cousins, really wanted Kirk Cousins to be his quarterback. Justin Jefferson has yet to sign a contract. Is Justin Jefferson going to be okay with the Vikings going, okay, we need to rebuild and we're going to get a rookie quarterback, but can we get a top tier rookie quarterback? This opens the door for possibly a trade for that number one pick for Justin Jefferson. Say the Bears, hey, we'll give you a first round pick in Justin Fields for. No, they wouldn't do that because the Bears would absolutely need a quarterback. But what's going to happen with Justin Jefferson? What's going to happen? It makes it a lot more interesting because I don't know if Justin Jefferson is going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to sit around, wait for a rookie quarterback to maybe develop because where they sit right now, they might have a chance at Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy, and that is for sure second tier when it comes to quarterback in this draft. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Justin Jefferson. I mentioned Justin Fields and the guys who were really going after him. The Steelers got a quarterback. The Falcons got a quarterback. They're not trading for Justin Fields anymore. Now the Bears picked up Kevin Byard, old Kevin Byard, not Tennessee Titans Kevin Byard, Philadelphia Eagles Kevin Byard. But they got Kevin Byard. They got DeAndre Swift in the backfield, which, okay, cool. DeAndre Swift coming back to the NFC North. They haven't really made a move for Justin Fields to get some help. Maybe they're looking to trade back one or two picks, get Marvin Harrison Jr., get Malik Neighbors, get Rome Odunze, right? Get one of those guys to help Justin Fields out. Maybe they're planning to get an absolute boatload for that number one pick, and they actually believe in Justin Fields and not just want to toss him to the side like we were all thinking. It's interesting. They still have the Raiders open. The Raiders signed Gardner Minshew, but we all know Gardner Minshew is not a long-term starter. If the Bears call the Raiders are going to pick up the phone for a possible deal for Justin Fields. Now, what is that going to entail? Are the Raiders really going to give up their pick, which I believe is like 13 or 14? Bears getting 3 picks in the top 15. Is Justin Fields worth that? I'm not sure. But that's pretty much the only other team that is realistic in trading for Justin Fields. So that is the two avenues I see the Bears taking. Either they trade Justin Fields to the Raiders for a first round pick. That way they have 3 picks in the top 15. They can get a quarterback. They can get a top offensive lineman. And they can get a receiver. Or they keep Justin Fields. They get a boatload for that first overall pick from someone like the Vikings, from someone like who'd be buying or trading back even like 5 spots with, I don't know, the Patriots or the Cardinals or whoever. I don't think the Cardinals would trade up, but you get what I'm saying. It's going to be interesting what the Chicago Bears are doing. Now let's talk Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are cooking right now. The Houston Texans were a nice little surprise last season for everybody not in the AFC South. Of course, I'm talking from a non-biased perspective. If I was talking from a biased perspective, I would say the Texans are overrated and they're going to find some way to screw it up. But from my non-biased perspective, the Houston Texans are cooking. Their offense ended up a top 10 offense last season. Their defense ended up a top 15 defense last season. They won the division after everybody said they'd be last. And I believe they won a playoff game as well. The Texans said, hey, we lost Jonathan Grenard to the Vikings, one of our best pass rushers. Let's go get one of the most underrated pass rushers in Danico Autry. Oh, our linebacking core needs some work. Let's go get Azeez Al-Shaair, who finished top 5 in tackles last season. Oh, our special teams need some work. Let's go get one of the biggest legs in the game, Tommy Townsend. Oh, our secondary needs some work. Let's go get Jeff Okudah. Oh, our run game needs some work. Don't worry, we're going to get Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones because Joe Mixon just got released from the Cincinnati Bengals. The Houston Texans are very smart right now. They are very smart. They know how to spend their money. This is a phenomenal free agency class. A phenomenal free agency class. And as a Titans fan, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. They get a running back, they get a run game to pair with CJ Stroud and how good he was, good enough to be in MVP conversations as a rookie. They shore up that defense with already a great defensive mind in D'Amico Ryans, D'Amico? I forgot his first name and I feel bad. The guy who was robbed from Coach of the Year, in my opinion. The Texans are going to be very good for a very long time. And that sucks. As a Titans fan, that sucks. But at least I can say you're still not the Oilers. Eat shit. Talking about the Titans are doing interesting things. The Titans didn't do a lot yesterday outside of they lost Sean Murphy-Bunting. They lost Azeez Al-Shaair to the Bears. They lost Danico Autry to the Bears. They lost Azeez Shaair to the Texans, as well as Danico Autry. They signed Tony Pollard, which puts the nail in the coffin of Derrick Henry coming back because they love Tyjae Spears and they're not bringing in Derrick Henry and putting Tyjae Spears as running back number 3. Looks like Derrick Henry is going to be heading. I forgot about Gus Edwards to the Chargers, too. Gus Edwards to the Chargers, opening room for the Ravens to get Derrick Henry. And honestly, in the long term, an upgrade from Austin Eckler. Yeah, but we're not talking about that right now. Who did they gain? They gained Tony Pollard from the Cowboys. And in my honest opinion, I like Tony Pollard. I'm higher on Tony Pollard than a lot of guys are. But you jumped the gun. Because now you have guys like Aaron Jones, guys like Joe Mixon out there who I think are better than Tony Pollard. Now, Tony Pollard is not going to have the same kind of role in Tennessee that he had in Dallas, and I think that's very true. But he's still not a great option when there's better options out there. Yes, he's somewhat young. He's from Tennessee, went to the University of Memphis. It's a cool story, but there's a lot cheaper options and a lot better options. Now, they gained Lloyd Cushenberry, who y'all don't care about, but he shores up the offensive line. Great start to the offensive line, including Peter Skoronski and possibly Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, or J.C. Latham. And they got Kenneth Murray, which is fine. He's worse than Aziz. He's worse than David Long, in my opinion. Hopefully, he revitalizes his career, but I'm not too stoked about that. And Chidobe Awuzie could be a very solid cornerback, too. I'm excited about him. I really, really want the secondary to be good. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. We still need a safety, still need more corners. And now we need to replace Denico Autry. It's a lot in Tennessee. But the Titans, I'm very interested in what the Titans are doing, obviously, because I'm a fan. Now, lastly, the New York Giants are losing. New York Giants are losing bad. They lost Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney, quite possibly the best players on both sides of the ball. They replaced Saquon Barkley with Devin Singletary. Cool. Okay. And they traded for Brian Burns, which is a win. But now that defense has what? What does that defense have? Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau? I'm shaking in my boots. Oh no, how's my offensive line gonna defend against Kayvon Thibodeau? Brian Burns, one of the best pass rushers in the league. I'm not gonna take it away, but that's it on that defensive line. And you lost Leonard Floyd, and you lost Leonard Williams last year to the Seahawks, who just re-signed with the Seahawks. This Giants team is bleeding. They are bleeding, and they have not tried at all to put a good bandage on it. Outside of Brian Burns, sure. But he's not the TJ Watt who's going to transform your entire defense just with his presence. He's great, one of the best pass rushers in the league, but he's not a defensive changing guy. You need a lot more guys. And the Giants, of course, again, this is day one. This is just me reacting to day one. Doesn't look great for the New York Giants. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know how y'all teams did. That's it for me today. I'll see y'all on Friday, probably with more free agency talk. If not, going to watch a lot more basketball. Going to watch some wrestling. Probably going to have some wrestling topics on there. Appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Follow me on Twitter at jjester615. Follow the show's Twitter at Jackie's Show. That is with one little S and one big S. Email me, oldjackieboy1021@gmail.com for questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to do. That is OLE JackieBoy1021@gmail.com. Like I said, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you all on Friday. Oh, follow me on TikTok, JackieBoySports. Make sure you like, rate, and share. Make sure you go check out Red Light Homies. Again, I worked real hard on a Red Light trivia night doing film. So go check that out. Spotify, YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you all on Friday. Peace.